Welcome to Golf the Card Game, and here's how to play.
Alright, so the objective of the game is to swap out and pair up cards to get the lowest net score after 9 holes, just like in golf. You'll do so using various addition, subtraction, and other mathematical strategies. As far as materials go, all you'll need is a standard deck of cards, including the jokers, a pencil to keep score, a paper to keep score, and up to 3 friends. And you need at least 1 friend to play. Now you're ready to start setting up the game. To begin, you'll deal each player 6 cards. They'll keep them face down. Without looking at them, they'll arrange them in 2 rows of 3 in front of them. The remaining cards that haven't been dealt to players will go in the center, acting as a draw pile, and the top card of the draw pile will then be flipped over at the start of the game. Before we start the game, we should discuss scoring. To begin, lowest to highest, an ace is worth 1 point. Cards 2 through 10 are worth their face value, so for example, 2 equals 2, 3 equals 3, 10 equals 10, etc. The jack and queen cards are also both worth 10 points. The king is a special card that's worth only 0 points, and the jokers are the best cards in the game, and they're negative 2 points. They're special this way because there's only 2 of them, so it's harder to get the lower scores. It's also important to note that if you have 2 of the same cards stacked on top of each other, they cancel out and equal 0, even if the 2 cards are jokers. In case that was confusing, I've included an example scoring of a person that has scored 3 points. So you can see in the first column, they've got a 4 and a joker, and since they're on top of each other, the joker is -2 for the 4, and you would add them, so 4 minus 2 is 2, so there's 2 in the first column. 2 queens stacked on top of each other, since they're the same card, they cancel out to equal 0, so we've still got just 2. And in the third column, we've got an ace, which is 1, and a king, which is 0, so that's just 1 point there. So the 2 plus the 1 gives this person a 3. It's important to note before we get into gameplay that in order to win, you must be the person with the lowest total score after 9 holes of golf. Additionally, if you're short on time, you can make the holes shorter, like 5 holes, 3 holes, something like that. But the true golf way is 9 holes. At the beginning of each round, you get to flip over 2 cards in your little array of cards at the beginning of your choosing, any ones that you'd like. The person to the left of the dealer gets to go first. In this case, Anthony doesn't want that 8 that's been flipped over already, so he draws a 7, which he also doesn't want, so he discards it. I don't want it either, so I draw this king, which is a great card because it's worth 0 points. 0 is much better than 10 since you want the lowest score, so I discard this 10. He knows that that's bad, so he draws, gets an ace, which is a great card because it's worth 1 point. Decides to switch it out for his queen, which is good because queens are worth 10. Discards it. I don't want the queen because it's worth 10, so I draw a new one. It happens to be another king, which I will place on top of the king because those, even though they're already both worth 0, they still cancel. I'll flip the card over, but I don't get to keep it, so I must discard whichever card I flipped over. Anthony decides that he would like to take that one that I discarded, and it ends up being good for him because he would have gotten a 9, so he saves 3 points. I don't want the 9, so I draw. I get a 3, which is great because I already have a 3, so I can put it right on top of there, and those will cancel. It is a little bit bad because I discard this 6, which Anthony needs, so I kind of help him out there, but there's nothing I could have done about that. So he takes that so that the middle section of his will cancel out and equal 0 as well. He discards a jack, which is bad, so I don't want it. But it's the same as this 10, which I also don't want, so I'll discard. Anthony doesn't want the 10, so he draws and gets a 4, which is a pretty good card. Let's see what he'll do with it. Smart choice. He replaces it with the queen because the queen is worth 10. I don't want the queen. I draw and get an 8, which is not good, so I'll discard it. He knows it's not good, so he'll draw. He gets a 5, which is middle of the road. We'll see what he does. He's really thinking here. Alright, he decides he wants that. It does save him 5 points, but now he does have 9 over there. I get a queen. Don't want that, so I'll discard it. He also doesn't want the queen, so he'll draw from the pile. Ooh, he gets an ace, which means he can go out here. So he's got 0 points in the left 2 and a 9, so he goes out with 9 points. Even though I would want that too, the game is over once somebody flips over all their cards, so I'm stuck flipping over these cards, not knowing what they are, which goes a little poorly for me. So we both end up with 2 rows that have 0. So as I'm tallying up the scores here, you can see that for me, for the first hole, I've got a king and a king, which equals 0 because they're the same. 3 plus a 3, which is 0 because they're the same. Then I've got a 6 and a jack, which a jack is 10, so that equals 16 for the hole for me. Now I'm adding up Anthony's score, and he's got a 5 and a 4, which is 9. A 6 and a 6, which cancel to equal 0, and the same for those 2 aces. So he's got a 9, a 0, and a 0, which is 9. So Anthony has gotten a better hole than I have, but we've still got 8 holes to go. There are a few variations of the game. In original golf, as you know, the lowest score wins. You could switch it up and do it so the highest score wins and see how that affects your gameplay. Additionally, you could do, instead of like highest or lowest, you could do add to a specific number. So you want to maybe get 15 in one column, and the distance from that maybe is your different scores. Additionally, you could do a similar thing, highest, lowest, add to a number, but you just switch up the operation. So it would be subtract, multiply, or divide, something along that nature, instead of just the normal addition. Hi guys, it's Jill. I bet you've been thinking this whole time, wow, golf seems like a lot of fun. And you're right, it is. But it's also more than that. Golf is a great game to incorporate into your classroom because it has children develop their arithmetic skills, lots of repetitiveness, and there's no time constraint as well. And on top of that, for those who maybe don't need the extra practice with the arithmetic, it allows them to develop their critical thinking skills and there's a numerous amount of strategizing that they can implement while playing the game that people of all ages can always practice and improve on. So yeah, golf is fun, but it's also so much more. Thank you.